Yes, good afternoon. Sava here from Football Heritage TV. The transfer window is nearly upon us. And oh my God, Tottenham Hotspur, we're always in the news. We're always in the news, aren't we? Today, two bits of news. The first bit of news is going to be about non-transfer related, but how it might segue into transfer activity. And the second bit of news is going to be about transfer activity. Christian Romero is the first part of this video. Out for 5 weeks. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. And the second part of this video is going to be about Dominic Solanke. Wherever you look now, if you type in Dominic Solanke, it comes up Tottenham, 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 Tottenham. We'll talk about that. People are talking about him finally being the goal-scoring replacement for Harry Kane. So let's get into it. It's all fun and games at Tottenham. Now, some devastating news for Tottenham, but news that we knew could happen. Christian Romero is out injured for 4 to 5 weeks, as confirmed this morning by Postecoglou in his press release, or sorry, in his news conference. Now, we saw him go off injured at half-time in the 2-1 win against Everton. Lots of the talk was, is it just precautionary? Is he actually injured? And again, he's injured. Now, this all boils back, before we look at the actual news that's broken, this all boils back to Tottenham knew that he likes a suspension. We knew that he's injury prone. And in the window, we only went and bought one centre-half in Mickey van der Ven. Why didn't we sign centre-halves? Well, alas, there is good news, because the transfer window opens in about 4 to 5 days' time. So this is going to be pivotal for Spurs to go out and buy a centre-half. We'll look at that in a second, but let's have a look at the news, shall we? So you can see here, I could have picked a number of publications. This was just the first one that came up. As you can see here, picture of Christian Romero there with one of his moments against Wilson. And it says Tottenham handed another injury blow as Christian Romero sidelined for 4 to 5 weeks. The article goes on to say Christian Romero is set to be sidelined for 4 to 5 weeks with an injury. Tottenham manager Ange Postecoglou spoke to the press before his side's clash against Brighton and confirmed his defender has suffered a hamstring strain. He said, not so great with Romero. He had a scan and he's got a hamstring strain. We're looking at 4 to 5 weeks with him. The 25-year-old, who's made 15 appearances for Spurs this season, suffered the injury against Everton. Tottenham faced Brighton, Bournemouth, Burnley, Man United and Brentford before the end of January. Spurs are already dealing with the absence of James Maddison and Mickey van der Ven, who are also out injured. And you can chuck Bentancur in there as well. But when asked about the latter returning to training soon, he said, where did he say that? Talking about Van der Ven. The darts. I wouldn't put too much in what the player says, mate. I don't think he'll be back for Burnley, maybe for Man United, but I wouldn't know until I see him in training. He's at the tail end of it now. So Van der Ven has made 12 appearances before his hamstring, sustained in that 4-1 defeat to Chelsea. And it goes on to say that Tottenham are already looking at who could come in as backups for their absent defenders. And it says including Jean-Claire Todibo. Now, when we look at that, I mean, look, sometimes in life you get what you reap what you sow. At Tottenham, we didn't go and get what we needed in the summer. Now, luckily for us, this has come right as the transfer window is opening. So before the transfer window opens, we've got to navigate Brighton away tomorrow night on the Thursday night football, which we'll be doing a watch along for. And we've got to navigate Bournemouth at home. Bournemouth, who are, of course, the informed Premier League team, but Tottenham Hotspur would like to think they've probably got enough to win that game, even without Van der Ven and Romero. However, we cannot have another season where we go in with 2 first-choice centre-backs. Yes, Emerson Royal has fit in at centre-half and done okay. Yes, Ben Davies has had some good games at centre-half and then some awful games like the one against Everton. But if ever it showed that Tottenham Hotspur need depth at centre-half, we knew it already, but desperately we need it now. Unfortunately, Christian Romero is going to miss plenty of games every season through injury and suspensions. We know that. Even the staunchest of Romero diehard fans have got to acknowledge this. He does always get injured and he's suspended quite a lot as well. So we've got to get in more centre-halves. You look at Mickey van der Ven, that's not a good injury to have. Does that come back to bite him in a year, in 2 years? We don't know. So it's imperative for me that when people, us as fans, when we sit there and go, oh, but where does Jean-Claire Todibo play, for example, if we sign him? Would he sit on a bench? No, stop that thinking. We need these players because of this. This is where you go and buy a Jean-Claire Todibo in the first week of the January transfer window, the first 2 days. Get him in the team. If he's that good, he'll stay in the team. Forget who partners him. If he's that good, he'll come in the team and he'll stay in the team. But Tottenham have got to do something, because we cannot go into the second half of the season with Davis and Emerson Royal as centre halves, or Davis and Dyer, or Dyer and Royal, whichever way you look at it. And clearly, Ange Postecoglou doesn't trust yet Alfie Dorrington or Ashley Phillips, who was signed in the summer from Blackburn. So clearly he doesn't feel they're ready for first-team football. So we've got to go and buy a centre-half, maybe 2. I just feel we've got to do something. We've got to get that squad, because this is the sort of injury that knocks you out. These are the sort of injuries that take you from being there in the table to very quickly being there. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully it'll be limited number of games, and hopefully Van der Ven's back soon, and maybe Romero's injury is quicker than we think. But very interesting times. Now, Spurs obviously will go into the Bournemouth game without Van der Ven, or I know we've got Brighton tomorrow. Then we'll go into the Bournemouth game on New Year's Eve. And Bournemouth, of course, up front will have Dominic Solanke. Now, Dominic Solanke, would you believe it, has been linked with Tottenham Hotspur in a big way. Now here, I'm just going to show you that this isn't me making this up. Here you can see that if you type in Solanke and Tottenham, you've got the Sun are running the story, the Independent are running the story, the Daily Mail, Court of Side, All Nigeria Soccer, Team Talk, Football Fancast, Football 365, loads and loads of Tribal Football. I could keep going on and on and on. Lots of people are running with the story. Now I've picked out Dominic. I'm going to pick out this one just purely because I think they were one of the first to run the story. Hopefully you can see that there, where it has said that cherry-picked, good play on words there, the Sun has said Tottenham eye transfer raid for Dominic Solanke after calling their interest in alternative Premier League striker. Spurs are monitoring Dominic Solanke as they look to sign a striker in the summer. Now, interesting that says the summer and not January. It says the Bournemouth hitman who scored a hat-trick against Nottingham Forest at the weekend has taken the Premier League by storm this year. A little bit clickbait there, and said that Tottenham are closely watching the striker's progress. A source said, I love the source. Which source? A source has said Spurs want to sign a striker in the summer. The club hasn't replaced Harry Kane, so recruiting a new forward is a big priority, and Solanke is someone they are closely monitoring. They've sent scouts to watch him already several times this season, and they will continue to track him into the new year. He ticks a lot of boxes for Spurs, and Bournemouth know if he carries on showing this kind of form, then they will struggle to stop other clubs sniffing around him. They are bracing themselves for bid. And it goes on to say, and this is the interesting bit for me, it says Spurs were also keen on Brighton striker Evan Ferguson, but interest in the Irishman has reportedly cooled, and Solanke is seen as a better prospect. Now, it goes on to say that the source said Tottenham on a focal point, which makes sense, and he scored 11 goals in the Premier League. Obviously, now he scored another one yesterday, so that is 12. Where does everyone sit with this? Because for me, this is interesting. I'm seeing Dominic Solanke being linked with Chelsea, with Arsenal, with Spurs, with Man United. For me, this is, everyone who watches me regularly will hear me say this, this is football in 2023 personified. This is a guy that's had a very, very mediocre football career, who's in a purple patch. Because he's in a purple patch, because there's not many top strikers around, everyone starts going, oh my God, he's great. Could he play for this club, this club, this club? I'm going to ask the question. I'm just asking you, is Dominic Solanke good enough for Spurs, for Chelsea, for Arsenal, for Man United? Is he that level? Is it just that he is in a purple patch of form, people are panicking, and now all of a sudden everyone's going to want to try and sign him, and Bournemouth might want to cash in on him? Another question, how much would Dominic Solanke be worth? Now, there's a huge difference to me saying, oh, I think he's 40 million. And I'm just saying that as just plucking that number from anywhere. 40 million. And Bournemouth going, oh, hang on, to us, he's worth 70. Because what he's worth to Bournemouth may not be what fans think he's worth. Because Bournemouth will see it, well, hang on, if we don't have Solanke's goals, we could drop rapidly down the table and be in a relegation battle. So what's he worth in the market versus what's he worth to Bournemouth? So all of these different questions are going to be flying around. Now, I want to show you Dominic Solanke's Wikipedia page for a number of reasons. So if we look at Dominic Solanke's Wikipedia page, you can see here that he is 26 years of age. So he's not a youngster. He's 26 years of age, played for Chelsea, Vitesse on loan, Liverpool, and now Bournemouth. He's represented England all the way from the 16s all the way through to one England cap 6 years ago in the men's senior national team. But here is where I want to focus, is his actual output as a centre forward. Hopefully everyone can see that there. His actual output as a centre forward. This is his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 11th season as a pro. Now, the first two, I'm going to remove the first two because he was a kid and had one appearance. This is his 9th season as a pro, where he's played more than 20 odd games, whatever it may be. And you look at that career and you think, if I'd said to you, this is the guy that Tottenham Hotspur are going to sign, or Chelsea or Liverpool or Arsenal, whoever, wouldn't you look at it and go, oh, that's very underwhelming? He's got one season of over 20 goals, and that was when he scored 30 in the Championship. His next best tally is 15 in all competitions. I mean, what do people think of him? For me, I mean, yes, let's not lie, he's having a good year this year. 19 games in all competitions, 13 goals, 12 and 18 in the Premier League. Very good numbers. Very good numbers. But is it a purple patch? Is this similar to Grassi in the German league, playing for Stuttgart? Is it similar to that? Are we getting carried away by strikers who are having 3 or 4 good months in their career and all of a sudden we see them as top forwards? Let me know. I'm intrigued. Do I think he's better than Richarlison? Yes. Would I want him? How much are you paying? How much are you paying? Is he the long-term solution? Do you buy a Solanke and then put Sonny back to the left and have Sonny, Solanke and Johnson or Decky or whoever on the right wing? Let me know what you all think. I think it's a really interesting one. He's put himself up there, hasn't he, in the limelight. He's given himself a fighting chance. He's got some good form behind him. He'll be wanting to get into the England World Cup squad. If you were Spurs, would you look at him in January, look at him in the summer? Is he an Ange Postecoglou type player? I'll leave this for you lot to discuss. But one thing is for sure, the next month is going to be a lot of news about Tottenham Hotspur. So please please subscribe. Leave your comments in the chat. Please note that we're just asking questions here, so please leave your comments. I didn't make any of these articles. This isn't me. These are just articles I'm reading out. So please leave your comments. Let us know what you think. And as always, come on, you Spurs.